Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome along. It is time to fire up the flat sixes. 75 years ago, an aspiring young engineer decided it was time to make the break from doing engineering consultancy and projects for everyone else and start building the car that he couldn't buy because it didn't exist. The car was the Porsche 356. The engineer was Dr. Ferdinand Ferry Porsche, and that started Porsche road cars. 75 years later, the 911 is still the top of their range. And we've brought a whole field of 35 of them to Watkins Glen International. 11 corners, 3.4 miles. The back straight, the inner loop. Obvious places for overtaking, possibly into the toe of the boot as well, and certainly down into turn one, a tricky downhill braking area that will test the mettle of the cars and the drivers. Hello everybody, my name's John Hindorf, and I am delighted to say that although we've got overcast in terms of the weather at the moment, the temperatures are great. 21 Celsius in the air, that's 84 Fahrenheit, 70 Fahrenheit, excuse me, 84 Fahrenheit on the track, which is 29 in the Celsius band, and that means the Michelin tyres that are fitted to all of our Porsche Type 992 race cars are going to be perfectly heated by the time we come to the green flag. Joining me in the IMSA Global Broadcast Centre is Shea Adam once again. Been a while since we've seen these cars. Last time we were on the semi-permanent racetrack. I won't say on the streets of Miami because it was round the Hard Rock Stadium, but they were supporting Formula One. They've had some time to reflect on that, and we come to the first of two races this afternoon.
And the thing that most drivers will be excited about, there is a little bit of runoff around this track, which is something that they haven't been treated to for 2 rounds of the championship now, competing at Long Beach at that Grand Prix for the round before. Now it's Porsche time at the Glen.
Here is the way they will line up. Will Martin claiming his first pole position for his team, and that's JDX Racing. Kelly Moss have Riley Dickinson, the championship leader, runaway championship leader, in second place. He'll hate me for saying that. Sorry, Kelly. Riley, sorry. MDK Motorsports and Jason Hart on the inside of row 3 with Tom Sargent for McElrea Racing. 4 different teams in the top 4. And how about McElrea Racing? New to the championship this year, right up with the established teams. Then it's Michael McCarthy, Alex Sedgwick across from the UK, Elias De La Torre, Dan Clark, Varon Chotsky and Ryan Yardley. That's your top 10 in Pro. In Pro-Am, Efren Castro took the pole position ahead of Jeff Mosing in second for Top Racing and Alan Metney for Kelly Moss in third. And in Am, a little bit of a shake around, but James McCann got the pole position ahead of John Getz, who's having a brilliant weekend, and Michael Murrett in third position ahead of Grady Willingham in fourth. That's how they'll line up there.
Championship leader in that AM class is Mark Kwame. He is starting at the tail end of the field. I'm a little bit perplexed by that.
Yes, me too. That's not how they qualified, so I can only assume that he's had some kind of penalty. We'll check that out for you. The lights are out on the Deluxe Porsche 911 safety car in a beautiful carmine red colour. 40 minutes on the clock. I mentioned the top of the championship. Riley Dickinson, Shea, in the Pro category, has been doing his thing. He's now into his 4th season in this championship.
Mark Kwame was found to be under the right height, so that's why he lost all of his qualifying times. But yes, Riley Dickinson with a good lead in the championship. I'm not going to say a stranglehold because I don't want Riley to be mad at me too. But Riley, 157 points coming into today's race ahead of Tom Sargent on 103 and Will Martin with 90. Those are the 3 guys who still have a chance at this championship realistically.
Running under the FIA points system, so 25 for a win, 18 for second.
Correct.
On down. So if you watch Formula One, one, you know how that works.
Well, it's slightly different in this championship. 2 points for pole and 1 point for the fastest lap. So that's the addition that you can earn to try and get off of an even points tally score, if you will. In Pro-Am, Efren Castro leads the way. He has 125 points. Watch out for him, car number 65, ahead of Marco Cironi, the Canadian. He is also running this weekend, but qualified a bit further down. That's car number 82. And then in third, Moise Uretsky. He's got the pink and purple and white Porsche. That's car number 44.
A magnificent field of 35, count them, 35 4-litre flat sixes. That's a lot of litres and a lot of cylinders and a great noise from this brilliantly normally aspirated motor. 507 horsepower for each of these cars. We are about to unleash the Porsche Deluxe Carrera Cup grid. Green flag. Now, Will Martin just had the lead going down in the gold and black car, and he holds on to the lead with Riley Dickinson on the outside. Dickinson ushered off the circuit there. Race control would not like that from the pole sitter. You're meant to give a car's width on the outside. They're still side by side, running up through the S's. And look at the car behind, Jason Hart for MDK Motorsports. Coming through in the number 20, the bright yellow and dark grey car. He's got the draft on the right-hand side, going into the inner loop for the first time, and will take second place away from our championship leader. Now, Riley Dickinson will not panic here. He has got plenty of experience. Michael Cooper, the accelerating performance pink Porsche 33, going a little bit wide there, but holds his position, keeps on the road, downhill to turn number 6, and it is at the front of the field. Will Martin, JDX Racing, had a bit of competition there right at the very start, Shea Adam, but he's settling in at the front of the field.
Yep, he is, and Race Control definitely will be taking a look at that move through the opening lap and through turn 1. Racing Room asked for, maybe not necessarily given, and that's what Race Control likes of our competitors. Be respectful of one another, as down the inside, that's a big lunge. Elias De La Torre making exactly what he needed to do for car number 4 and try and hold off Alex Sedgwick in the number 78.
Ryan Yardley.
Ryan Yardley, yes. Where did Ryan come from?
He's fighting his way through the field. The bright yellow and rainbow number 4 there is Elias De La Torre, another one of the JDX Racing cars, sitting in the 13, the red, white and black car. That's Van Onchotsky. They're battling at the bottom end of the top 10. Where's the Nola Sport Dan Clark car? Oh, he's dropped behind them in the highlighter yellow and green machine. Big dive down the inside, and that is a position made up. Oh, and already a problem.
Mark Fame, that's our championship leader.
That is not, is that car straight? I think he's gone straight on.
Let's see.
Oh, he's had to avoid a spinning car.
No, I think he had an incident earlier on.
He got pushed. Yeah. He got pushed as everyone else was checking up. So a spin for the number 85 that went around, and that now is back underway. Mark Varme also underway.
So Jake Pedersen in the 85 coming back to the series this weekend after running at the first round of the championship at Sebring International Raceway.
For Reardon Racing, 3 different categories. Oh, it's one of the McCann cars. That is the number 8. It is Michael McCann for McCann Racing. And he's got damage to the left-hand side of that car.
Left front, I believe, John. It looked like there was some significant bodywork damage as well as the tire. Oh, what a heartbreak for Michael McCann, who's been looking so strong all weekend.
T5, the outer loop. Now, that does mean he can take the shortcut through.
No, he's too far around. I think he's further around than that.
No, he's in the shortcut now.
Oh, he is. Good.
So now if he pauses there and lets the field go through, he can follow. At least he won't have to walk back to the pits.
Yes.
So he will be able to, I think, get that car back. Another place being challenged for by Varun Chodsky in the... Oh, and he spins! Off at turn number 10. He'll hold on to that. That is one of the places that there is some runoff. The ATR machine absolutely sideways across the curb. He was battling with Ryan Yardley and
Sean Varwick was the other car involved there, the number 2. So off the track, Efren Castro, by the way, still leading in the Pro-Am category. There was a moment earlier on for Alan Metney, who, along with Stefan Rudzinski, had spins, but both of them managed to continue.
Not in the gravel.
Oh, he kept the right foot down.
Lucky. Comes, oh my goodness, comes out right in front of Mark Kwame.
Oh boy, Mark is going to be counting his stars, going, what did I do for this to happen?
So the number 2 on the outside is doing nothing wrong there. I don't think. That was Sean Varwig. I actually think that was Varun trying to be very gentlemanly, and he's pinched his car down so he didn't run Sean off the track. At the back end has taken over. Physics has taken over there on that car. Michael
McCann has made it back into the pit lane as well and shut the engine off, so the crew will have a look at it and see if they can get him going. Once again, Varun Choksi stayed out on the racetrack. Who else is into the pit lane? That's Michael Cooper. Oh no, the multi-time sports car champion making his debut in Porsche machinery. Does not look good.
3 different categories here. The cars are identical. It is the drivers who are graded. The pros tend to be, the pro category tends to be for the younger, career-minded driver. Pro-Am, a little bit more experience of life, and the Am, people who are still enjoying their racing but probably aren't looking to make a career out of it. It generally speaking goes on their ages, but you can ask to be moved up a class but not down. Michael Cooper confirmed there in the pit lane as that car is rolling again.
But look in his pit box, John, where he was stationary. There is now water at the front of the car, at least liquid.
Coolant, I think.
I would hope.
I wonder if that car will turn off into the paddock. Right.
Battling on track has not let up at all as Jason Hart looks in his rearview mirror and sees Riley Dickinson.
3rd. Championship leader. Now, if you're Jason Hart here, and somebody's been on the radio to say, that's Riley behind, if you haven't already realised. Very distinctive colour scheme and livery on the Kelly Moss racing cars. They all have variations on that theme with different coloured front splitters on the car. And I think we might have a spot or two of rain out on the far side of the circuit as well. So we'll keep an eye out for that. So Jason Hart's team at MDK will be saying, that's your championship leader. Now, that will not make him want to pull over, quite the reverse. He knows that Riley Dickinson's got more to lose in this race than he has.
Jason Hart's going to go, not my championship.
Yeah, not
I missed a race. I'm not in this for the championship. I'm in this to win races, and that is why you guys hired me.
Yeah.
So Jason Hart, very much a capable race car driver in his own right, is going to go, Riley, son, we're both from Texas. You're about to learn some stuff from me.
Well, let's see what happens with those two. Then there's a little gap back to the number 17 of Tom Sargent. McElrea Racing. Oh, a very successful team from Australia. Have made their base up in the Carolinas and are racing in this championship. Big flash of the lights from the number 37. That gives you 5 extra horsepower.
I thought it gets the banana ready to throw out. Oh, not Mario Kart, sorry.
That's Zebra Cook for Kelly Moss in the Deluxe car, right in behind Pro-Am leader Efren Castro. One of her teammates, but not in the same class. Now, Efren is not fighting Sabra there. If Sabra goes through, he will lose a position on the timing and scoring monitor, but he won't lose the points that he has for being the top Pro-Am driver.
But then there's no cars between he and Jeff Mosing, and that is a battle for position.
Good point.
So Efren might be more satisfied to have Sabra behind him. And then, by the way, Marco Cironi has made his way up to 3rd, and he is 2nd in the championship. So for Efren Castro right now, this is kind of ideal.
I think Sabra will want to be past. She will want to close down on the top 10 ahead of her.
It's not like Efren's moving slowly, though.
No,
I mean, he just did his personal best lap time last time around.
Well, I just saw the first windscreen wiper going there. That was from the leader, Will Martin.
He did have that going for a little while now, though, John. I wonder if maybe he hit the button while he was involved in that battle on the first lap and then didn't know which button he'd pushed.
The very distinctive headlight signature on these Porsches does seem to be a little bit bright. A nice move down into turn 6. Alan Metney in the GT Silver number 99. All of the cars come in that colour. And he's just gone through
John Getz.
John Getz, who has taken the lead in the AM category.
And what heads-up driving by John Getz. His battle is not with Alan Metney. Alan Metney has won races overall as a Pro-Am driver. Not in this iteration of the championship, but in the previous one. John Getz realizes, I'm in first. I'm doing everything I need to try and benefit myself in the championship. Alan, have at it, my friend.
Having a great weekend, John Getz. He's been quick in all the practices and the qualifying sessions.
Had a big off.
He had a big off in the second half of qualifying, and I'm pleased to see that he's back out, but he did lose his times for that. Efren Castro leads in the number 65 car. That is in the Pro-Am category, and he's sitting halfway up the field in 14th position. Currently right behind Travis Wiley, who's the last of the Pro cars that are all contiguous from 1 to 13 in their positions, and he wants to be by.
Yeah.
And he wants to be by because, again, the pressure is coming from behind. Sabra Cook is there, his teammate, and here's Sabra right on the rear bumper now in the Deluxe car. Sabra, the recipient of effectively a selection process that was run by Kelly Moss and Victoria Thomas, wanting to promote a worthy female racer, had basically a shootout between several candidates, and then also made sure that the car was fully funded for the full season. And that's Sabra Cook going through, taking an overall position, and now looking at 13th position in the Pro category. That's what's ahead of her at the moment, having dispensed with her teammate. Just under half an hour to go. Fastest lap of the race in the overall is for Will Martin, the leader. In Pro-Am, 150.0 last time around for Efren Castro. And Mark Varmey carving his way back through after that ride height infringement negated all of his times, which will mean, of course, that his grid position will be set on the time he sets in this race.
Yep, very good point.
But rather than what he does. Well, he's the fastest of the AMs at the moment with a 152.7.
He's got a lot of honor to defend right now, John. This season has been almost perfect for Mark Varmey. Every race has been on the podium, so he's got a little bit of work left to do to try and get a trophy today.
No further action for the Varun Chorski and Sean Varwig incident that saw Varun facing the wrong direction. He's dropped all the way down to 17th in class, 30th overall. I think that's reasonable. That Sean didn't get impeded there, and Varun rather penalised himself, didn't he? So
he did. I'm wondering when we are going to see Riley Dickinson do what he did at Long Beach, because as I mentioned in qualifying, the only race this year that Riley Dickinson hasn't won is the only race that he hasn't been on pole. He wound up third in that race. That was at Long Beach, but what he did was right at the dying moments of the race, backed off from the leading pair and then allowed himself to set a flying lap to claim the bonus points for that honor. Now, the rain is in the area. Yeah. How long do you wait before you set that fastest lap?
Good point. We are not even halfway through this race. Riley has really buckled down this year. Fine young man, out of the car and in. Has a very rounded approach to life. Really throwing everything he's got at this championship. All of the young drivers automatically entered into the young driver program by Porsche. They get classroom assistance and also help with their training, and more importantly, I would suspect from the driver's point of view, they get the opportunity to represent this championship in the world shootout, effectively. The young driver shootout, which is held in Europe at the end of the season. As yet, nobody from the American Series in this iteration, or previously when it was the GT3 Cup Challenge, has won that. And The prize for winning it, by the way, is a Porsche Young Driver contract, and so many drivers here this weekend in both Pilot Challenge and indeed in WeatherTech Sports Car Championship have come through that championship. We've got all kinds of drivers here, including
well, we've got 3 GTD champions.
Correct.
Who are GT3 Cup Challenge champions.
Yeah.
You look at Madison Snow, champion in GTD 2018. Zachary Robichon, who was champion in Canada in 2019, I think it was. And then we've got Roman DeAngelis, who won both the Canadian and the US and GTD last year. He won Canada and US several years ago, though.
The list of alumni from the Porsche Junior category who have gone on to do great things is long and impressive. Number 98 then chasing at the moment. This is the red, white and black car.
We're speaking of impressive. Alex Sedgwick this weekend has been driving phenomenally well, getting his first podium in the series the last time out at Miami. Right now, he is charging down Tom Sargent, although he needs to be careful because he was violating track limits the last time around. Race control noticed it and invalidated his lap time. If he continues to do that, race control will get less and less of a sense of humor, and it could result in a drive-through penalty. Battling
Tom Sargent in the mostly white and shades of blue, number 17. That's the McElrea Racing car.
Second in the teams championship is McElrea. We
That's
mentioned
impressive.
this is their first year here.
Very impressive.
They're ahead of JDX. They're ahead of MDK. They are ahead of powerhouse teams.
Sedgwick originally from a small village on the Northamptonshire and Warwickshire borders called Southam, right in the middle of England. Has concentrated his efforts over here in the States, although hasn't done a full championship for quite some time. And really interesting program that he's putting together to try and help people who wouldn't normally be involved in racing, whether drivers or in other areas. That is the number 88 car we're talking about.
The
98, excuse
98,
me.
98, yep. The owner.
PT Autosport is the. Go and look it up.
Yep. It's Jeff Days, Jason Myers, and Henry Drury are 3 of the people that are critical to that organization, and full credit to everybody involved with PT Autosport for the results that they've gotten so far this year. And it looks as if those results are going to continue today because Alex Sedgwick is hungry for the 4th position. Tom Sargent not really willing to give it up, though. Still sits second in the championship coming into today. But with Will Martin leading the way,
yes,
that could change.
That could change. Will Martin then heading down towards the inner loop, and he's under pressure. Hang on a minute.
That's Will Martin and Riley Dickinson.
Yeah, Will Martin's got a problem, and the lead has changed. So Martin was already in second because through to the lead has gone Jason Hart, and it's a left front issue for the JDX racing car. I was looking at the timing screen and then looking at the pictures and realizing that it didn't tally up. My goodness, what a disaster. Will Martin, who had this race absolutely under control, and now we'll tour it into the pit. A pit stop here is end of opportunity.
Not end of day, but end of a realistic shot at a good result, and that is a heartbreak for Will Martin. It elevates Jason Hart to the lead of this race.
So he was already held up behind.
No, he was already slow, John. He already had the problem coming it through the top of the S's. Jason Hart just got past him very easily.
The Goldcrest car was Philippe Martien, the number 78, and then he got another little dink for his troubles. So that must have gone probably down in turn 1 or turn 2, or at least start to go. That's a sketchy place. These cars do run tyre pressure monitoring systems, so the team may well have been talking to him.
He's in the pits now. That's the good news. Let's see what the JDX crew can do. Jeremy Dale's organization, championship winners last year for Parker Thompson. Very hard-fought battle. as he goes down the pit lane, pulls into the box. And let's see, they are going to put a new left front tire on this car.
Hey, anything could happen. We've got 21 minutes yet. It's a longish lap. He might not lose the lead lap here.
They need to make sure the suspension is okay, though, because what was the cause of that issue?
That's what we're wondering ourselves.
Johnny Knott's on site, making sure that everybody is taking care of what's going on, and now they are indeed
Johnny Knotts, we should explain, is the pit official who's standing there. He's our head pit official.
Lead pit official, yep. Knows every rule book inside and out. Look at the tire marks on the side of the JDX machine, though. There had to have been side-to-side contact with someone.
And I wonder if that's either taken out the valve or broken a wheel if you've run down the side of someone. He's now lost the lead lap, so this now will be an exercise in effectively testing for the Brit Will Martin.
Still have a race tomorrow. You still have to know what kind of race car you've got.
Very true.
And if you think that you can put in a faster lap time, put 4 new Michelins on that machine and send him out there. Let Will Martin have a go at an attempt for pole.
Lead lap lost as Jason goes through. The man from Texas. Flower Mount. Flower Mount in Texas. MDK leads. This is a terrible, terrible few moments from Will Martin, from south of England, from Battle.
Riley Dickinson now finds himself in second position, 4.6 seconds off the lead. Tom Sargent is only half a second behind him, and then Alex Sedgwick 0.6 behind Sargent. So the battle is very much on for every spot on the podium, except the lead right now, and Jason Hart is very happy that that's the case, as Philippe Martin is
he's slow. Yeah, now, this was the car that the leader was very close to either just before or around the incident. Now it's white and it's pristine on the left side,
but the right
what does it look like on the right side? Exactly. We're trying to be a little bit CSI WGI and see if there's any evidence on the side of that. That looks pretty clean.
It does. It's too bad that didn't happen to Miami. We could have been CSI Miami.
Very good.
I still am a Miami girl. Can I claim that?
Always.
Jason Hart not even needing to look in his rearview mirror at this point in the race, as we have 18 minutes and 20 seconds to go for round number 7 of the Porsche Deluxe Carrera Cup North America for 2023. And our championship leader sits in a very good position.
He'll take second all day. Riley will take second all day. Jason Hart is certainly a contender, but at the moment he's taking only 7 points back from Riley Dickinson, and the gap between them at the start of the race was?
Not even worth talking about. Jason Hart had 40 points coming into today's race. Riley Dickinson, 157. So that is not a gap.
No. So on you go, Jason. I'll shake your hand on the podium if you manage to keep it going.
I'll spray some champagne on you.
I'll be very happy to see you standing on the top step of the podium so long as I stay in second. That will be what has been thought of at the moment.
The pro-am battle, however,
looking at the front of that car, so I think it's something more sinister than that. Pro-am battle, sorry, Sheikh. Castro, Jeff Mosing in second, and Marco Cerrone in third. It's closed right up.
And PJ Hyatt in fourth. We have 4 men who are fighting it out for the podium. They have 3 spaces between them. Ding ding, go ahead. And Alan Metney continues to circulate after a bad first lap. He's 13 seconds behind the lead. That's doable within 17 minutes if your name is Alan Metney.
Still the battle going on at the bottom end of the podium. Tom Sargent and Alex Sedgwick battling for 3rd and 4th, but they're a long way behind now in terms of Jason Hart. 4 seconds to Riley Dickinson. About another... Oh, now Riley Dickinson is dropping back into the clutches here of the 17 of Tom Sargent. Let's have a look at the lap times. Last time around, Riley a 150.1, 150.2 for Tom Sargent, 150. They're holding station. Let's not panic anybody down at Kelly Moss Racing at the moment. MDK, Kelly Moss, McElrea, JDX, Nola Sport, your top 5. Dan Clark, what a drive by speedy Dan Clark. Yes, that Dan Clark. He's had quite a long sabbatical from racing. Raced at the highest level over here in the States, including in IndyCar. Came back to put a toe in the water, what, a couple of years ago? No, just on a year ago, in what was meant to be a one-off outing in the Porsche Sports Car Together Festival that was at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Enjoyed it. Started looking to put a deal together for this year full-time in the Porsche Deluxe Carrera Cup. Oh, Jeff Mosing making a move on Castro. That's the lead. That is the lead for their category. Pro-Am, 14th position overall. That was an immense move. Marco Cironi sitting in behind them, about 4 seconds further back. Not exactly a grandstand seat, but you can't miss the rhubarb and custard-coloured car of Jeff Mosing in the number 56. Going to concentrate on this series going forward, Shea.
Yeah, he also races in the Michelin Pilot Challenge Championship, but has announced that this will be his focus going forward. He won't be doing anything in Pilot for future seasons. And it was just a slight hiccup from Efren Castro, but Jeff Mosing was willing and able and waiting to pounce. He did and stole the lead away.
Efren Castro's not going to be very pleased with Sabra Cook, his teammate, because I think she was having a bit of a moment going through turn 1 and he had to lift off going through that, and it's cost him the lead in the class.
As far as the championship is concerned, though, for Efren, that's okay. Jeff came into this race on 79 points. Efren had 125. If Marco Cironi was leading ahead of him, he'd be a lot less happy.
So still 25 minutes gone, so that's 14 to go. Just over 25 minutes, coming up to 26 minutes gone, which is why there's 14 to go. Pro-Am lead battle still being disputed. And now Jeff Mosing has the problem of trying to get past the pro racer ahead, who's Sabra Cook. She is in 13th position in the pros, trying to chase down Travis Wiley. He's only about a second ahead. Up over the top of the rise. And Dan Clark continues to try and move forward. He's got about 6 seconds between himself and Alex Setcher. He's got Michael McCarthy in behind him. In the meantime, battle for 10th position. Thomas Neveu for McElrea Racing with Sean Varwig now right in behind him.
Two true youngsters having a go in the Porsches, trying to figure out who can beat whom in this first race and finish in the top 10 point scoring.
Grain front at 24 car is Neveu. The silver and blue, a bit of grey on the side as well, is Sean Varwig. Number 2 car for Kelly Moss Racing. Number 24 for McElrea Racing, the Alrem, Evrium and Richelieu sponsored machine. At the front, we haven't spoken about Jason Hart for a while. He's pulled out. His lead has actually just been dropped down a bit, I should have said. But he's still 3.6 seconds. He's managing this with a dozen minutes to go. Yeah,
but he's pushing. I mean, he left very little space on the exit at turn 9 coming through that lap. Jason Hart is still giving it his all.
He's a second and a half away from his fastest lap time. Should mention who is the fastest lap time in pros at the moment.
49.060 would be Riley Dickinson. But 48.871 is the car returning to the track now. That was Will Martin very early on. So
correct.
It's not a good day for Will Martin, but he is still stealing that fast lap point away from any of the front runners, at least for now.
So whatever was ailing the left front has been looked at and attended to.
Unfortunately, he's 5 laps down.
Yes. This is a test session for tomorrow now, effectively. He's already got the fastest lap, so whatever happens, he will get the points for that. That must have been quite a percussive incident underneath the wheel arch at the left front, because the left front headlight isn't working. So that suggests to me that when the tyre has been flailing around there, it's taken out the inner guard and probably the back of the headlight on Will's car.
There is a final warning that's just been issued by Race Control for track limits turn 1, this belonging to car number 74. Now, the interesting thing about Jimmy Libra is that he's been in a battle for the last few laps with Elias De La Torre, trying to hang on to that 8th position. Race Control, final warning, means the next time's a drive-through, that will drop you out of the top 10.
Yeah.
Jimmy, you've got to be careful.
8th position. Well, we hadn't seen the leader for a while. Second place is Riley Dickinson, and he's been putting in some very good lap times. A 49.3 last time around, 49.9 last time around against his best of a 49.0. He's pulled out almost a second on the battle for 3rd spot. Tom Sargent and Alex Sedgwick still having a go. Further back down the field, just on the outskirts of the top 10, number 4, Elias De La Torre on his final warning. And he's got in behind him Thomas Devere, Sean Varwig, Travis Wiley, not too far away. Travis about 7 seconds further back.
Jeff Mosing hanging on to that lead ahead of Efren Castro. There's a bit of a gap between them. It's almost a second now. And then Marco Chironi is back in 3rd, but 3.7 seconds off the lead. PJ Hyatt's closing in on Marco.
Still got some positions in the Pro-Am. That was the Pro-Am category that Shea was talking about.
In AM, John Getz 10 seconds clear of Scott Noble. Michael Merritt is in 3rd, and Mark Kwame back up to 4th.
Way to go, John Getz, after a car that needed some remedial work after qualifying. How do you pay back the right motorsports mechanics who've worked super hard?
Well, I mean, aside from beer, you give them champagne.
Yes. You give them a champagne bottle at the end of this one. Sabra Cook still ahead of the number 66 of Jeff Mosing. Sabra in the Deluxe car. Under 10 minutes to go now. Just keeping an eye on Jason Hart's lap times. He was wallowing a little bit towards the mid-150s and 151 actually, but he's now down to a 49.8 again, 1 minute 49.8, so has stemmed the tide of Riley Dickinson. He was closing in at him at about half a second a lap. 3.2 seconds the gap between 1st and 2nd. Efren Castro still leading Pro-Am.
Second in Pro-Am.
Sorry, 2nd in Pro-Am.
Jeff Mosing leading.
Yeah, Jeff Mosing leading. Mosing in the number 66 bright yellow and dark red. That's why I call it rhubarb and custard. Mosing Motor Cars. Drive yourself happy.
It's the best motto in racing.
Just great.
And that's Jeff's goal. Come into racing, have a good time, leave with a big smile on your face.
And try to make others smile as well.
Yep.
He understands that. So this is a battle for position in the overall for 13th. More importantly for Jeff there in the 2nd Porsche. He will want to get through and put a bit of a gap between himself and Sabra's teammate, Efren Castro, in the black and red car behind him. Just keeping an eye on lap times. This is the time of the race that if you have abused your Michelin tyres, things can go very, very wrong. Now, 2 things that help all of these drivers, including the number 20 who leads, being Jason Hart for MDK in that yellow and black car. He hasn't had to push that hard, and we've had a safety car.
Yep, and Grady Willingham is ahead of him. That's why he's on the flasher, trying to let him know, hey, I'm coming through, move out of the way. I am a lot faster than you, thank you very much. And
get him down the front straight.
Yeah, that was perfect timing.
Ooh, however, had to lean on the left rear Michelin quite hard there, left a big mark on the road. Gets through before the braking area for turn 1. Make sure that he gives Grady plenty of room. You don't want to spook someone that you are putting a lap on into missing their braking marker. It's happened. It's happened. I've seen it happen. Riley Dickinson has trimmed the lead. Another 0.3 of a second now, down to just on 3 seconds. It's fine, but as I said, just got to keep an eye on it. Now, this is danger time for Riley Dickinson as he comes up to Grady Willingham through the inner loop. He's got the battle for 3rd and 4th right with him. Goes to the right, goes to the left, gets on the dirty part of the track. That's going to cost him traction into the outer loop. Just about holds on to it. For a moment, though, it looked like Tom Sargent had an advantage, and he certainly cut down the lead. So now, from having a decent gap back to that battle for third, this is now the battle for second, third, and fourth, heading down to the toe of the boot. Oh, Riley Dickinson's car moving around at the back there, Shea Adam. That might just be the dusty part of the surface that he was on coming out of the inner loop.
Very much could have been, and now he's going to have another lap car to deal with as, who was that ahead of him? It was Philippe Martin in the 72 out of his cars. Will Martin, by the way, his day is done. And now Tom Sargent having a look, darting around, trying to figure out what's the best way to get around Riley Dickinson. It's what people have been worrying about all year, but few have had an opportunity.
Massive championship implications here as Will Martin, proudly wearing his British Racing Drivers Club shield there, the man from Battle in the UK. Looks like that was just a couple of extra laps just to see if the car was okay, maybe, and I'm not sure it was. There's the pass. Efren Castro goes up into 13th position ahead of Sabra Cook. So that means also that Jeff Mosing must have gone through as well. So that Pro-Am battle will continue for the last 5 minutes. Riley Dickinson seems to have a better car under him now as he's cleaned off his Michelin tyres after having to go offline to lap Grady Willingham last time around.
But there's more lap traffic to come as our leader, Jason Hart, is just dispensed with one car and has another one ahead of him. Still, no, he's gotten by both of them on the run into the bus stop. Good lap for Jason Hart. This is going to prove to be quite tricky for the battle for second, third, and fourth to deal with these guys.
James McCann is one of those cars.
I think Jake Pedersen is the other one.
Okay, that would make sense because they're in 28th and 29th position. Pedersen in the number 85 Raiden car, the McCann Racing James McCann 83 is the other car there. Yep, spot on.
No, that's
that's the 27. Right, so that's Christian Cole and James McCann. So Christian's just overtaken James, I think. Yes, he has, in the two McCann Racing cars.
These cars are doing nothing wrong. They're involved in a race of their own. They don't have to move out of the way or let off the gas or do anything as Riley Dickinson gets by Cole and Sargent tries to stick it down too. The exact same point. He does make the pass stick, but that was risky.
Dickinson held up coming through turn 9, and it could be that Alex Sedgwick is the major beneficiary here as they all stream past that number 83 McCann Racing machine of James McCann. Christian Cole dropping back in.
Sedgwick dived down the inside of McCann coming through the final corner. Got a really good run onto the front straight as well. 3 more minutes.
Yeah, I'm just sort of thinking I think we'll get the last lap signal next time around. Jason Hart throughout all of that, remember it was 3 seconds, it's now 3.3 seconds, and that is just because of the traffic that Riley Dickinson hit there. And when he hit it, Jason Hart, sometimes you've got to have a bit of luck. He hit the traffic coming onto one of the long straights and was able to get by without compromising his line, although somebody's got off in front of him on the inner loop, and he drops off his right rear Michelin as well. Riley Dickinson is hustling that Kelly Moss racing car. The driver behind him is a threat for the championship, Tom Sargent. Tom with a stellar run of second places at the start of the season.
Yeah, 5 in a row.
Tracking Riley Dickinson in the championship hunt.
It was a rough go at the second round at Miami, which ultimately resulted in Tom Sargent losing that streak of seconds.
Meantime, in the arm category, it's heating up there as well. John Getz has got Scott Noble closing down. He's just a second back, and Scott's just put the fastest class lap time in for the AMs, 1:51.745, so that's not over.
It had to have been Getz who went off the track then, because he had almost a 10-second lead.
Correct. Good call.
Mark Kwame is up into third now, so he would continue the streak of podium finishes if the checkered flag were to come out now. Jeff Mosing, Efren Castro separated by almost nothing.
Alex Sedgwick seems to have perhaps done his best across the line. White flag, 3.4 miles. The leaders, 2.9 seconds. So Riley Dickinson is hustling that car. Surely he's not going to be able to make up 3 seconds on the final lap. there's a big gap back to Jake Pedersen, who's the next car in line. And it's another car with Jake, actually. They're just going into the inner loop now. And again, dust kicked up ahead of the leader, and that will put dirt on the track.
Pro-Am battle was nose to tail coming across the line. Jeff Mosing holding the inside line as Efren Castro came along the outside. They are together, though. This is not done.
That is the battle for the Pro-Am lead. And all of a sudden, Efren Castro feels that maybe he's got something to give. Sabra Cook still could play a part here. She got back ahead of both of them because they'd gone through, hadn't they?
No, I think she was holding position ahead of them. Efren Castro had gotten around her and then let her go back by to try and have a go at Travis Wiley, wasn't it?
Yeah, good point.
Now, Jeff Mosing has been spotted. No, Efren Castro has been spotted for track limits at turn 1. Lap time was invalidated this lap around, but it's the final warning, so don't do it again. Turn 8 is one of the places that they could do it. Great battle as well in the AM category. That is being closed down. John Getz looked like that one was absolutely sewn up. Let's see the leader across the line. Here he comes. Jason Hart takes his first win of the season. Porsche Deluxe Carrera Cup North America. MDK Motorsports 2.7 seconds back to Riley Dickinson, who increases his championship lead in second ahead of Tom Sargent, who adds another podium finish. Now battles down through the field. Here comes the Pro-Am battle. 2 corners to go. Efren Castro's taking a really good run. Looks to the outside, tries to cut back on the right-hand side of the track in the final corner. It's a drag race to the line. Will go all the way to the wall and try to squeeze through, but can't get it done. 13th, 14th and 15th go across the line as one. And Jeff Mosing takes the Pro-Am victory ahead of Castro and then Marco Cironi. Now the battle, these are nicely spaced out so that we can pick them all up. John Getz, who had a huge lead, but then we think he made a little mistake, has got Scott Noble right at his wheel tracks, and they're coming up to turn number 8 now. Scott had to run across some debris there. That was a front splitter from another car. That might be enough to give John the win here. John, who stacked the car in the second half of qualifying. The Wright Motorsport mechanics have done a great job. He pulled out a huge lead. Mark Kawami, by the way, whose times were scrubbed from qualifying after a ride height infraction, has fought his way back to 3rd in the AM class. To the line, John Getz will take it for Wright Motorsports ahead of Scott Noble for MDK, and MD and K, Mark D. Kawami, will come through in 3rd. That's a pretty good run for MDK, who take the overall victory as well in the shape of Jason Hart. And, well, not a great start to Jason's season, well off the championship lead, but he'll take 25 points. More importantly for him, the top step of the podium. My hat is off to the competitors for the end of that race. The level of respect that was shown in Pro-Am, in Am, and in Pro for the entirety of the race. Very impressive driving all around. Congratulations to John Getz and Wright Motorsport for bouncing back after a rough start to the day, to Jeff Mosing and Efren Castro, and of course to Jason Hart. And John, I'm not going to do the math on this one, but I can tell you one thing. All of our championship leaders coming into today, they leave with their championship leads. And Will Martin will take the points for fastest lap, although he finishes down in 18th in Pro after that left front issue when he was leading the race at a canter. He'll think that wasn't his day for the young man from Battle on the south coast. Efren Castro takes the Pro-Am victory, and Jeff Mosing takes the Pro-Am victory for Top Racing in 14th position overall. John Getz in the AM category. The VP Racing Fuel checkered flag and a trip to victory lane for the number 20. And great stuff then from MDK Motorsports. A first victory in the Porsche
Deluxe Carrera Cup for 2023. For Jason Hart, on to another race here tomorrow. We'll have it all live for you. Make sure you don't miss any of it, because it will be just as riveting as it was today. Shay Adam was with me, John Hindorf, in the IMSA Global Broadcast Centre, and we'll fire up the flat sixes again for another 40 minutes of entertainment, action and enjoyment here from Watkins Glen International. Join us then. For now, goodbye.